conversation with us today. Again, this is not to say that the UK is the greatest place for students, but this is to point out the fact that coming to the UK could actually be an option, right? The schools are expensive, the living condition is relatively expensive, but unlike what used to be in the past, where most schools in the UK wouldn't offer scholarships to foreign students, I think the game is changing, and a whole lot of scholarships are opening up within the UK. And these are scholarships you want to take advantage of. These are scholarships you want to be considering for your own studies and for your career pursuit and future development, right? So if anybody is still online and able to join this particular event, I encourage you to join us, and I encourage you to not run out in a hurry. This is Academy of Scholarships and Transitions, and today what we are discussing is options for studies in the UK, scholarship options, the cost of living. I'll touch on that. I will also touch on how you can find accommodation in the UK. I will touch a little bit on the structure of British education, what you need to expect, how to prepare ahead of time, and the things you need to have, properly aligned before you start coming over to the UK. First things first, let's touch on the scholarships. Now, back in the days, a lot of people would consider that the United Kingdom have scholarship opportunities for students. But that game is changing and changing really quick, because if you have a look at what is going on within the UK, especially for all the technical courses, the engineering courses, and all the other aspects of computing, renewable energy, and a whole lot of all these other courses, you will find that there are very many scholarship options that are opening up, and opening up for foreigners as well. And these are the things we are really interested in talking about today. Now, the question is, if there are all these scholarships, why am I not seeing them? Where can I find them? And how can I access them? Right? So, the number one thing is, when you are coming to the UK, you need to just have a very good understanding of the fact that the what is called graduate assistantships in other country is not typically called graduate assistantship in the UK. They are the same thing, but just under different names. So in the US, in Canada, in Australia, you might find those names like graduate assistant or graduate research assistant, graduate teaching assistant. But here in the UK, very often when they have those kind of arrangements, they prefer to call them studentship, right? Studentship. So when you are looking for opportunities to come to the UK, and you go to Google and you write maybe like graduate assistantship opportunities in the UK, you may not find as many responses. I've not done this search myself, but you may not find so much of a response from Google. But instead of searching for graduate assistantships in the UK, what you should actually be searching for is studentships in the UK, because most of the universities will advertise graduate assistantships as studentship. And so when you find anything that is called studentship within the United Kingdom, just know that it's your equivalent of graduate assistantship in the US or in Canada. Now, there are a couple of places where you should be looking at if you are trying to find these kind of scholarships. One of those places, and the most recommended one by myself, because I've seen it and I've seen how much of opportunities are posted there, will be jobs.ac.uk. Jobs, like J-O-B, J for jump, O for oranges, B for ball, um, S for Selena, if you like, then .ac.uk. If you head on to that website after this event, you will find that there are so many scholarship opportunities in the UK that are just constantly advertised on that website. constantly. So when you head on to jobs.ac.uk, you will find that you will see scholarships that are purely PhDs, and then you will see some other scholarships that are more or less direct PhDs. Direct PhDs are those scholarships you can apply for with your bachelor's degree to start a postdoctorate, to start a doctorate degree program. Now, somebody will be wondering how possible is it and all of that kind of stuff. But the truth is, these things actually exist, and within the UK, you'll be able to access those kind of opportunities if you have your scores, and then if you have, if you have your grades in the right form, like you've got good grades, you will be able to access those kind of opportunities just with your bachelor's degree. And so you have a bachelor's degree, for instance, you shouldn't just sit back and continue to look for master's degrees only. You can actually begin to explore opportunities that will let a bachelor's degree holder apply for a PhD directly. And those kind of opportunities you will find on jobs.ac.uk. Now, why does it matter that you go to the website and visit it? This is, I'm not paid to advertise jobs.ac.uk, and normally, I shouldn't even be doing this, but that is where the opportunities are. The reason we want to go there is because most of the universities, when they have these internal opportunities, they will head onto that website, make those posts there, make those announcements there, and then for people to come in and join, come in, apply for those kind of opportunities. Now, the second place where you can be looking at for opportunities in the UK will be the websites of the individual universities. Now, websites like those of University College London, maybe like Oxford, Imperial College, and all of those places. If you come down to Aberdeen, websites of University of Aberdeen, Robert Gordon University, Heriot-Watt in the other part of Scotland, in Edinburgh, all of these places, you can actually be looking at those websites for scholarships. But the way I like to think about things is, if somebody has gathered all these scholarships in one place, why do I want to go through individual websites of universities to find scholarship opportunities when I can actually go to just one unified website, and then I'll have like a bunch of all these scholarships posted there? Now, this is Academy of Scholarships and Transitions. If you have just joined us, please let me know where you're joining from, and please distribute this video across to all your friends. You can just hit the share button so that we're able to reach as many people as possible today. This is a late event, was supposed to have started earlier, but for some reasons we're coming this late, reasons beyond my control. But then let's just make progress. So people would think usually of the United States, they would think of Canada, they would think of Australia, of New Zealand, before they even think of the UK when it comes to graduate assistantships. But the fact is that if you go to jobs.ac.uk right now, you will see more opportunities on that website than you can apply for. And the way the website is designed is such that you log in there, most academic related jobs like lecturing positions, postdoctorate positions, doctorate degree positions, all of them you will find advertised on that single website. And when you head to the website, you see all these things. What you just do is read through the details of the advert, and then you'll be able to apply. It doesn't matter if you're applying to 20 schools, because again, the United Kingdom does not charge application fees. Is it expensive to study in the UK? Yes, it is expensive, but can you win a scholarship to study in the UK? Perfectly and absolutely so. And when you win these scholarships to study in the UK, it takes care of your studies, like your tuition fees, it takes care of your living expenses sometimes. It also may take care of your move to the UK, right? But when you get to jobs.ac.uk, there are a couple of things I advise people to do. Number one is you want to check the scholarship conditions. now, when I say scholarship conditions, I mean some of the scholarships are not, people from outside of the UK will not be eligible for some of these scholarships. But for most of them, you will find that international students qualify to apply. So once you see that international students qualify to apply for a particular scholarship, what it tells you is that you from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Malawi, Botswana, Lesotho, Egypt, just anywhere, Indonesia, India, any part of the world, China, even the United States, everybody from all these places can actually apply for these scholarships that are open to international students. But if you find that the scholarship is just for home-based students, that's home-based in this case will be students of the UK, people from the United Kingdom, citizens of the UK, then you want to avoid those kind of scholarships because they are not meant for you. You do not qualify for them and you don't want to waste your time applying for those kind of scholarships. Now, the other thing you want to look at is what does the scholarship cover? Right? You have seen that you qualify for the scholarship because international students are allowed to apply. The other thing you want to understand is what does this scholarship cover? Does it cover fees at home student rate? Because when you come to the UK, you have a difference in the amount of money paid by students who are from the United Kingdom. You have a difference between the amount of money they pay and the amount of money that international students are supposed to pay. A typical example will be that in my university, for instance, I know a British citizen who is doing the same PhD that I'm doing and paying around £4,500 per year. But the rest of us who come from different parts of the world are charged somewhere around maybe like 14 to 16,000 pounds per year. So, and some of the scholarships will cover just that home rate. So, if the home students are supposed to pay £4,000, or let's say £6,000, the scholarship will cover just £6,000, and then the balance between 6,000 and whatever the international students are supposed to pay, you will have to actually cough out from your pocket to pay. And those are the scholarships that are called partially funded scholarship. These ones are not fully funded. I personally wouldn't consider them as a first choice when applying for scholarships or when looking for any scholarship at all. Now, but there is a bit of a catch to it. There are some scholarships, like just yesterday, of course, I was speaking with someone, a Nigerian student in my school, who had started her PhD just like I think 2 days ago, but she got a scholarship from the university at that home rate level where she's having to cover the balance of the school fees. But in addition to covering the home student level or the home student tuition fee, the school has decided to give her like a stipend of about I think £17,600 if I'm not mistaken. So effectively, she's able to cover the whole of her tuition fees if she spends that whole that package, that bucket of stipend to pay her fees. So you need to have a clear picture of these differences. There are scholarships that will be fully funded at home rate for home students. There are some others that will be funded at home rate but open to international students. There are some others that are funded at home rate, but international students who apply for them can get some amount of stipend. And then there are some other scholarships that are just covering the international students' fee without a stipend. And then there is the one I call full package that will cover your international student tuition fee and then provide you some amount of money to cover your day-to-day living expense in the UK. When you go to jobs.ac.uk, you will find all these options of scholarships. What you just want to do is to sieve them out. Now, the other beautiful thing about that website is that you can streamline your search to fit into a certain category of courses. If you are somebody from the if you are somebody from the biological sciences, you can streamline it to just give you options for biological science students. If you're somebody from engineering like myself, you can fix it to give you options for people who are from with engineering backgrounds. If you are from the education side of things, you can also streamline it to give you options for people in education. And that's why, for instance, when people ask me, are there scholarships for my course? What about maybe mathematics people? What about people who studied physics and all of that? I just encourage you to go to this website, do this simple search, sieve out the options, just type in the course you are trying to study, or maybe not even typing because they got a list of courses just there. I'm not going to show my screen just now, but in one of the previous videos I did show my screen there for people to see how this website is actually arranged. But when you log on to jobs.ac.uk, you will find a section that's titled PhD. Click on that PhD, and then you will see all these options of courses, different areas of study, different fields, and different research topics. And those are the kind of things you want to do to be able to find your graduate assistantship option. And the good thing is, people are winning these scholarships from Nigeria. I know a couple of Nigerian students who are here on a similar scholarship. People are winning these scholarships from India. People are winning it from different places. If nobody from your country has won this kind of scholarship in the UK, then you are probably, the people from your country are probably not applying for the scholarship. But the scholarships exist. And if you go to this website that I've just mentioned now, you will see all the options of these scholarships that are available to you just now. Please go ahead, head on to the website, have a look at the options you have there, and then let me know if you find any one challenging. Now, the other challenge most people will have once you talk to them about scholarship opportunities is they are stuck within, in their own interests or with their own interests. Somebody wants to do a PhD, for instance, but the person has got like a different background from the area that the advertised PhD wants to go. The direction the advertised PhD is going to. Now the person says, "But my background is chemistry." And this one is talking about material science. The question is chemistry applicable to material science? Do you find a way that can you convince somebody who has advertised a material science related course or a materials engineering related course that with your chemistry background, you can actually contribute something useful to that research group? You can contribute usefully or meaningfully to that research group. Once you are convinced and you know that you can actually contribute to that research group, then go ahead and apply for it. Don't sit back and keep waiting until you see something called inorganic chemistry, PhD in inorganic chemistry. You may not see that, and if you don't see that and you continue to wait, then you may be cheating yourself, right? So, if you have not shared the video, please just help me share it, and we will continue in the conversation, right? We will continue to discuss these scholarships. Now, if you are one of those students that you are not interested in scholarship, because I know a couple of persons that have got money, right? There are people who have the money, they are not interested in scholarship, they don't want to apply. In fact, coming to the UK for them is not, they don't really just want to stress themselves with all the whole applying for scholarship, competing with this and competing with that. Now, this advice is for you. If you want to come to the UK as a self-funded student, then you must pay attention to this, because in the United Kingdom, even schools in the same city can vary significantly on the amount of money they will charge you as tuition. I know that if you come to Scotland, for instance, there is a city where I don't want to mention names of schools because, for some very obvious reasons. I'm not marketing any school and I'm not, demarketing any school. But if you come to certain cities in the UK, you will find two universities that are maybe like 45 minutes apart from themselves, right? Or maybe like 20 minutes drive apart from themselves, and you will see one charging you maybe like £16,000 for tuition per year, and the other school that's just nearby will be charging you somewhere around £24,000 per year. So if you are going to pay your fees by yourself, you want to be attentive to these things. You want to make your best choices in terms of whether if money is a constraint to you, you want to be smart on the way you spend your money, and then you want to be smart on the way you choose the institutions you are going to. But if money is unlimited for you, then you may just want to choose anyone that gives you admission. But this is something you must want to do if you are coming to the UK on a low budget. You want to pay attention to the cost of studying in that particular school relative to the cost of studying in other schools that are within the city. And then all the cities, of course, have got their own their own peculiar advantages, and some others have got their own peculiar disadvantages. There are cities where the cost of living will be very high, and this is general for the UK. There are places where you go to in the UK and the cost of living will be really very high. There are some other places where the cost of living can be high compared to your country, but not compared to some other cities in the UK. So if you are coming to the UK and your budget is tight, you want to consider one, the cost of studying in the institution you are going to; two, the cost of living in the city where that institution is located. And then of course you want to consider opportunities within that city, because you may want to go to a particular city to study a particular course, and then at the end of your course you just discover that there are no opportunities for you within the city. And if you are not able to then move from that city to another city, well, within the UK, your visa lets you move around. But the point is, if you move from one city to the other, or if all the industries that are involved in the kind of thing you are studying in your masters or in your PhD are outside of your city, then it may become relatively more difficult for you to get internships, for you to get like what's it called again, postings, for you to get like real life interaction with all the industry related activities within your field. In my own field, for instance, in oil and gas engineering, if you stay in Aberdeen, you have access to most of the, not like access per se, free access, but you have like easy access to most of the activities of the Society of Petroleum Engineers, because most of their major events in the UK are actually held somewhere in Scotland in a place called Aberdeen. Right? In fact, there is I don't know how this works in other places like in London, but I know that within Aberdeen, the SPE section in Aberdeen has like something they do on a yearly basis for students. They call it annual bursary, where a student is able to win maybe like up to £5,000, sometimes up to like £1,000, £2,000, between 1,000 to like £5,000, just a bursary to help your study. So if you are in cities like this, it will differ depending on your course. If your course is like mechanical engineering, you may want to consider some other cities where there are more of manufacturing plants. If your course is maybe hospitality and tourism, you may want to consider a city where hospitality and tourism is really high within the UK or within the country you are going to. But these are the things you want to do and you want to look at before you make that final choice of where to stay. I know that within the UK there are places you go to and you'll be able to find accommodation for like say £500 per month for maybe like a one bedroom flat, a studio 2 bedroom flat. But there are some other places where you will have to spend like maybe £700 or £800 to be able to access a similar kind of accommodation. These are things you want to put into consideration when you finally make that choice. Now, part-time jobs, right? I believe by now, most of us who are, if you followed us from the beginning, you already know that there are scholarships within the UK, right? So you already know that you've got scholarship options. You already know that this is what the scholarships are called in the UK. They are addressed more as studentships, not graduate assistantships as you will find the name very commonly in the US. If you look for anything and you find studentship in the UK, just grab it. That's your equivalent of graduate assistantship in any of the other countries. Please, if you are seeing this video, I will be glad if you can just help me hit the share button, or if you can help me just spread the video so that your friends can also see it. I can see somebody here who is following today that has been prominently missing for a while. It seems like your account was hacked somehow. Well, anyways, let's continue. So, if you come to the UK, for instance, and you are a student, the law permits you to work for 20 hours per week. Now, what the law does not define exactly, or what the law does not restrain you on, is the nature of jobs that you can do within that 20 hours, right? So it's left for you now to make a choice of you will choose to work as, let's say, as a cleaner somewhere, or you choose to work as a care staff, like a care assistant somewhere, or choose to work in the security field, like as a steward, as there's something they call SIA here in the UK, like security guards in shops and all of those kind of places. Usually, you need to do a training before you qualify for that. And usually, after you've done that training, the training will cost you some money. But even if most people take it because at the end of doing the training, you're able to recover the money once you start working, right? But some other people will choose to work as stewards. Stewards are similar to SIA, but they don't work in shops. They are more like ushers in events. You don't need much of, you don't need any paid training to get into that. Most times, companies will just provide you the training you need after they have hired you. But again, there are other options where you can choose to work for maybe like a company, right? A company within your own field. And if the company decides to employ you and they're able to agree to a 20 hours per week kind of arrangement, then you are allowed to work in that company, because the law does not say that you can't work in a company. What the law says is you cannot work more than 20 hours a week, regardless of where you're working, whether it's in a company, in the health sector, in an engineering firm, in security, anywhere you choose to work, you cannot work more than 20 hours per week, right? So, and because you can't work more than 20 hours per week, then what you want to do is to actually go back to the, what's going on? Okay, let's just continue. I think the video is picking up a bit strangely. Yeah, so I think we're good now. All right, so the company does not tell you what you must do, or the law does not tell you the kind of work you must do or the kind of work you mustn't do. You're allowed to work in any place, in any sector, for as long as that work is limited to 20 hours. Now the question is, if you choose to, or people would want to ask, how much can I make per working 20 hours a week? There are jobs in the UK that will pay you like maybe £10 an hour. There are some other jobs that will pay you like £11. Some will pay you like £12. Some will pay you like £15, especially if you do the job on a weekend. But the SIA jobs will pay somewhere around, I think, £12 a week normally. However, there are exceptional cases where a student can actually be doing a job that pays as high as maybe 20-something pounds and 20-something pounds an hour. Did I just say £10 per week? No, I think £10 per hour is the standard. Everything I've mentioned now is per hour. Don't consider it per week. So you can get like £10 per hour. You can get £11. You can get £12. You can get £15. You can get even as high as 20-something pounds per hour in very exceptional, rare cases, right? But on a general note, you'll be able to get, let's say you do an average of £10 an hour for 20 hours per week. Then you just do the math. You multiply 10 by 20, you get like £200 per week. And then if you do that consistently for 4 months, for 4 weeks of the month, you're able to get like £800. Usually, I think £800 is within the tax-free bracket of income within the UK, if that is the amount of money you are making per week. But then again, if you are doing some other kind of jobs that give you higher pay, you may be subject to paying taxes if you are, if your earning goes beyond the tax-free bracket within the UK. I think generally it's somewhere around 12,000. Is it 12,750? I'm not so sure about that, but somewhere around £12,000. If you are earning more than 12,000 something pounds per year, then you will be subject to taxes, and then the taxation rate can vary depending on the amount of money you earn. For students, you may not bother yourself so much. Even if you earn much, you may just be within the first tax bracket for UK residents. Right, so you are paying those taxes, you are doing those jobs, and then the money you are saving, the question now becomes, what can this money actually cover for me? Now, let's just walk through it mathematically, and you're able to like fix the numbers for yourself. If you're coming to the UK today as a student and your course is going to charge you around, say, £16,000, some schools will make you pay like 34% of that amount back from your home country. Some other places will make you pay like 60 something percent of that money. So if you have paid like 35% or 34% of 16,000, let's say you have somewhere around £10,000 left to pay. And then you get to the UK and you are doing a part-time job that helps you make like £800 per month. We are talking of that minimum baseline. Or let's say you're making like £1,000 per month. Then you are going to study for like a period of 12 months. So if you do the maths, you've been able to pay like 5,000 from your home country or 6,000. You now have like 10,000 left and you are doing £1,000 per month. By the end of your 12th month, you would have made like £12,000, right? But again, you can't just choose to use the whole money to settle your school, because you will consider the fact that you'll be living in the country, you will be paying rent, you will be paying transportation, you'll be paying so many of these other costs. Now, you now want to decide on, does this part-time job, can this part-time job help me survive paying my fees and then paying the cost of my living while I'm in the UK? You need to do all this maths and calculate all these things before you move to the UK. Because quite often, and this is becoming like a trend, people might come over thinking that they will be able to make ends meet, and then when those ends begin to fall apart, they decide to go the extra mile of doing extra shifts or working extra hours that are beyond the legally acceptable 20 hours per week. And very often the the home office will get to know about that, and that's considered you breaking the laws or breaking the conditions of your visa. The home office has actually got a right to send you back to your country and to refuse that, refuse your next visa application when you apply. And under such circumstances, you may actually be banned from receiving a visa to the UK for the next 5 years. So what they will do is, because they've got this system where you can apply for a post-study visa to stay in the UK for like 2 to 3 years, when you break the laws of how many hours you can work per week, then at the point of applying to stay back when you've graduated, the home office will come back to you with a very negative response. And this is not a hearsay. This is something that's been happening, I think, since towards the end of last year. There's been that trend, and that has been happening repeatedly. And you need to also be careful, for those of you planning to come to the UK or to any developed country. If the law says 20 hours per week, you don't want to shoot above that. And sometimes some companies might want to offer you additional shifts. They may want to offer you extra shifts. You may look at it as more money, but the fact that the company has to report back the income, report back the amount of money they are paying to you, and the amount of tax that is paid to you back to the tax office, tells you that the government will very much easily know that you are doing more than 20 hours a week, because the amount of hours you've spent will be, they will be notified, and they will know how much of money you are making, because that determines the amount of tax you pay at the end of your week or at the end of your month, depending on how your how your remittance is structured. But they will get to know, and by the time they get to know, the company that has offered you more shifts will not be there to defend you. All right? Even if they choose to defend you, they will not be listened to, because the law is the law. Breaking the law, there is, in fact, even ignorance is not an excuse before the law. So you want to be careful with that. Now again, for part-time jobs, the nature of the part-time job you decide to do is largely dependent on you, and then to the other extent is also dependent on the city you go to. because there are some cities where manufacturing is really high. Manufacturing activities are really high in the UK. There are some other cities like Aberdeen where oil and gas activities are really high. There are some other cities where, for instance, what you have there is like hospitality, lots of activities, events, nightlife and all that. So the city has like a hand on what you eventually do as a part-time job, or the part-time job you can easily access. But again, you also have to a large extent a control over what you do. So if you are coming to the UK and you are not interested in doing a specific type of job, you want to start planning ahead and you want to start understanding the structure that will let you into the kind of job you really want to do. If you want to do like a professional job as a part-time job, you know that there are going to be hurdles that you need to cross, because you've got 20 hours per week, and then most of the companies wouldn't engage you on a 20 hours per week basis for a professional job. So what do? You might want to start strategizing. How do I speak to the company to convince them that giving me an opportunity to work 20 hours per week with them will be profitable to the company? That is going to improve like the position of the company. It's going to improve the company's earning. It's going to bring in more efficiency. You want to start thinking ahead of time how you convince the company that this thing you are doing is actually going to work. What you are proposing is actually going to work. Because if you don't convince them, that pattern is not known in their structure. Now again, how effectively or how sure are you that your timetable in school will let you offer that 20 hours consistently to a professional, to a structured professional job, where maybe you have to be at work by 8, and then maybe you've got your lectures at 9, those kind of activities. You want to like be able to weigh all the options 360 degrees, and then when you've done all the weighing of the options and you've seen the things you have, the things you can do and the things you cannot do, then you decide on what you can do, and then begin to structure, either build a network around that area that will help you get into the place you want to get into, or you begin to like reach out to the people, begin to apply, and then begin to attend events that will actually get you into that job space. Now, this is Academy of Scholarships and Transitions. I would like to take a little pause here and then drink some water, but please help me share this video if you have not shared it. If you are just coming across us for the first time, this is Academy of Scholarships and Transitions. I will appreciate it if you share the video. Please just help me tap on that share button right there while I sip some water. Thank you. All right, if you have shared the video, please let me know in the comment section. Just drop done for me in the comment section. I will really appreciate it. Let me just even see how interactive we are with all of these things we are doing here. If you have shared the video, just click done type done in the comment section. Let me see. All right, thank you very much, Jane. Dawn, I can see that trooping in. Any other person who has done that, please just let me know in the comment section that you've done it. I really appreciate that, and I do sincerely appreciate it. So let's move forward. Now, when you have considered all these jobs, and please do not let the environment limit your thinking. Do not let the environment limit your options or tell you that because, and this is very common with especially those of us from Africa. Once you get to a particular environment and you begin to ask questions, most of the people in that environment will tell you things based on their own experiences. And they will say things based on, what was a limitation to them. They will also consider a limitation for you. But while this can be true and very helpful sometimes, you also want to stay focused on your end game, right? If your end game is to finish your studies, gain industry experience in a particular country before you leave, you want to start thinking of your plan, because many of the people you will meet and you will ask questions of have already decided that they just came, They want to study, they want to settle, but they are not very much concerned about how they settle. They are not very much concerned about what career they settle into, what profession they settle into. And so they're going to be giving you those advice based on their lack of interest in a particular profession. But if you have got a specific interest in a specific profession, you want to keep your eyes on that target. Even if the job doesn't come immediately, you want to have like a long-term plan of how you get back into that particular career, into that particular sphere. Because if you lose out on that particular area, you may be lost for a very long time. Now, cost of living. We've discussed scholarships. We've talked about how you should choose the schools and how the cities can impact the nature of the job you get and the cost of living. Now, let's look a little bit deeper into the exact cost of living in the UK. We'll take like Aberdeen as a typical example, and I will give you options, like give you an idea of what you will find if you landed in Aberdeen today. Now, if you come to Aberdeen at this moment, the biggest aspect of your cost of living here will be your rent. And rent, because if you are looking for a house in Aberdeen, there are two universities within the city, and there is a very large population of students, and then in addition to that, lots of young people who are working for the oil and gas industry, and they're working for the companies that are around Aberdeen, and then lots of elderly people, lots of there are just a good number of people looking for accommodation within the city. So you will find like a one bedroom flat, sometimes you might find it for like £500, depending again on the area of the city and how modern the house is. You may find other places where you have like a 2-bedroom studio apartment for like say around 470, 425 self, and maybe 450. You may also find a 3-bedroom flat. I know a friend who lives in a 3-bedroom flat, and he pays like £900 for the 3-bedroom. But he has got like a family and all that. But if you are coming to the UK as a single person, you may want to consider shared apartments for a start. Now, shared apartment doesn't mean that you are living in the same room with somebody. What it means is that somebody has rented like a 2-bedroom flat, and then you are renting one of the rooms in that 2-bedroom flat. So that way, if the 2-bedroom flat was supposed to cost like say £600, for instance, the two of you will be splitting the money between yourself. The other person is paying 300 for the room. You are paying 300 for the room. Now again, the cost of living or the cost of rent will also depend on the nature of the house, how modern, how old is the house. And then most of the old houses also will come with a low energy rating, which means that you'll be spending more money in the winter to heat up the house than somebody who lives in a more expensive, more modernized house. However, this is just going to be for the winter period, because in the summer you actually do not spend much on heating the house, because everywhere is warm, the weather is relatively better, and you don't have to like heat up your house, you don't have to like turn on your heating system and all that. But for the winter, you will spend relatively more money than the person who is living in a modern house, because the modern houses are built around they are built to be more energy conservative, such that if you heat it up, the heat doesn't drain out. It doesn't it's more insulated. It's better insulated than the older houses. So you will have your insulation well done, and then you have your energy conserved within your house. And because you have that energy conserved within the house, you will be spending less on heating the house, and then spending less on your total energy bill in the end. But apart from paying all this amount of money for housing, you will also consider the cost of transporting yourself to school, because outside of housing and the energy bill that you will pay, the other thing that comes maybe for a single person, maybe transportation. Okay, no, transportation might not be more expensive than feeding, depending on how much and how frequently you transport yourself. But for students, you can actually buy like a monthly ticket of the kind of bus that goes to your school, especially if that same bus goes to all the other locations that you're going to. In Aberdeen, you have like Stagecoach, and then you have a first bus service. These are like the two main public buses that run within the city. So you get like that monthly ticket, or you get like a termly ticket that will be relatively cheaper for you than buying the ticket on a daily basis. Sometimes like the whole of January, the weekends were free on the buses, but again, these are like exceptional situations. For most of the other days, you have to pay for your transportation. Right? So at the end of the day, you feeding is not really that expensive in the UK if you are cooking your food yourself. But if you are somebody that eats out a lot, then you need to prepare really well with your pocket when you do come over. Now, what else do we need to touch? Cost of living, we've touched on. If you are coming to the UK and you are struggling to find accommodation, you can drop a message in the comment section. I can share some further insights into how to find accommodation in the UK when you come over. Some websites that will help you find accommodation. I can share all of that with us. But these are like things that we may want to get into some other time. Now, the other thing we want to look at today is the structure of the structure of education in the UK. Now, how does education run here, and how is it different from what you are used to in your home country? If you come to the UK, some courses will just have you do what is called courseworks. Coursework will be similar to what you call term paper in Nigeria. I don't know what it's called in Ghana and all the other parts of Africa, but in Nigeria, there is something they call term paper, and that's really similar to what is called coursework here. However, the way you write it might be significantly different from the way you write in Nigeria or the way you are used to writing in your home country. And this is something, that's why I did a post some days ago telling us that apart from all the other skills you will get, all those money making skills you will get before you come abroad, one of the other skills you want to actually acquire is writing skill. You want to polish your writing skills, you want to polish your presentation skill. This is because the courseworks you write are going to be very high level academic documents. They are going to be like to a very large extent, they are going to be well written academic writings, and if you do not have that skill, you will realize that you will struggle a lot with your coursework. You want to improve on it, you want to build that up, and you want to get that sorted out before you head out to this place. And unlike in some other countries where you do lots of courses in a semester, here in the UK you might do just like 4 courses as a master's degree student per semester. You do another 4 courses in the next semester, and what is left for you to do is your project. And your project, your courseworks, all of these are going to be, you will have to write them like standard academic writings, and at every given point, those documents will go through an anti-plagiarism test. And if you fail the anti-plagiarism test, you consider yourself repeating that course. Anti-plagiarism softwares, and even those who try to like use the likes of ChatGPT to generate their courseworks, in the end, they will still have to like go through a whole lot. I understand that there are lots of other tools that one can use. You generate from ChatGPT, you go paraphrase in this tool, you go paraphrase in the other tool, and all that. But if you have a content, a document that is generated by an AI tool, some of these anti-plagiarism testing softwares can actually pick up that this was not written by you, this was written by AI. And once the university or the lecturer picks up that, then you may consider yourself as failing that course. This is Academy of Scholarships and Transitions. Right? Now let's have a look at some questions if there are any. Anybody got any questions? This is the time to start dropping those questions. But before we go, we are still supposed to talk about some other scholarships that are considered The ones I didn't really talk much about them in the beginning because these are like general scholarships that are open to everybody. I think most of us on this platform already know them. The likes of Commonwealth Scholarship, the likes of Chevening Scholarship, the likes of Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. So these are like three main categories of general scholarships that bring people to the UK for master's degrees. And this is apart from or in addition to all the scholarships you will find on jobs.ac.uk. So you will know the Chevening Scholarship. I think they've just done their shortlisting for interviews for those who will be coming sometime around September this year. And then Commonwealth Scholarship, they are probably also somewhere around the same stage in their own interview process. And the other one that's called Commonwealth Shared Scholarship is also there. Then you have MasterCard Foundation Scholarship. These three that I've mentioned now, that's Commonwealth, Chevening, and Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. They have like a hand of the UK government in it. But there are some others that do not necessarily have the UK government controlling them. So you have things like the MasterCard Foundation Scholarship at some of the universities, University of Edinburgh, Imperial, University of Edinburgh, Cambridge, I think a couple of other places, some other universities in the UK that have those partnerships. Then you have also the Gates Foundation Scholarship at Cambridge, that's funded by Bill Gates. Actually, one of the very most funded scholarships you can find in the UK because it goes as far as um, I don't know how it's going to work again with all the changes that have happened to immigration rules in the UK. But prior to this time, when people could bring their dependents, the scholarship would go as far as paying you about £11,000 for your child that's coming with you if you win the scholarship. And then if you've got like two children, the scholarship was going to pay around £16,000 in addition to, I think to the main applicants, they pay around £21,000 per year. So it was a whole lot of money. But now the UK has knocked off dependent visas for a good number of those who are coming to study here. We may want to talk about that too. But please let your questions start coming in the comment section. I will want to address them shortly, and then let us go have some rest for the night. This is Academy of Scholarships and Transitions, and what we are doing now is just what we love to do. We discuss scholarships, we show you how to win the scholarships. Today we are just talking about the UK, but very often we talk about all the other countries and all the other scholarship options. If you've joined our WhatsApp group, you will be seeing scholarship. You must have been seeing scholarships, from different countries and from different professors and different fields. Actually, if you have not joined it, you can just find one of the posts and then head on to join the WhatsApp group. The other place we have a very good presence is YouTube. You can go to YouTube and join our audience there. Any questions in the comment section about coming to study in the UK, just bring it on and let's discuss them based on what I know. I'm not an immigration expert, of course, but I've been in the UK for somewhere around 2 years now, and I've been looking at the system and trying to figure out the things that will be helpful to myself and to your own self. So any questions you've got, drop them in the comment section, whether it's how to buy tickets, whether it's cost of studying, just anything. Let those questions come to the comment section now and we will address them. If there are no questions, just know that all the people coming to the UK to do master's degree, course-based master's degree are no longer eligible to bring dependents to the UK. The only exception will be that you are a government-sponsored student. A lot of things have changed. The cost of health insurance has changed in the UK. The cost of applying for visa has changed. A whole lot of all this, and that's why you want to work on the scholarship options because except you've got a whole lot of money, studying in the UK at this point will be relatively expensive for anybody. Apart from all the scholarships at jobs.ac.uk, we've mentioned Chevening Scholarship, we've mentioned Commonwealth Scholarship, we've mentioned Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, we've mentioned the Gates Foundation Scholarship, MasterCard Foundation Scholarship. There is this other scholarship, I think it's called Rhodes, Rhodes. I can't remember the full name now, but it's I think it used to be like up to, is it 50 persons or how many? I can't remember exactly, but that's another very popular scholarship that brings people to the UK. And then, of course, you will have all the chancellor scholarships and all of those kind of excellent scholarships from the universities. The scholarships exist, and a full scholarship would be my number one recommendation for anybody coming to the UK. Otherwise, it's really expensive to study here. £27,000 in some places, £24,000 in some places, £16,000 in some places as tuition. Then, if you do the maths, if you are from Nigeria and you do that maths, I don't even want to do it here, but you can Google it. The amount of money, if you are paying £16,000 as tuition, that £16,000 is almost 32 million, or somewhere around 30 million naira. If you are paying 24 million naira to a school, by the time you do the maths, you'll be spending close to 50 million, somewhere around 45 million naira on your tuition alone. So scholarships will be like my number one recommendation, except if you have the money. I know that there's a lot of money in Nigeria. You won't believe it, but Nigerians are rich. And Nigerians are rich. When I say rich, I mean rich. I've seen some really very rich Nigerians who can afford these kind of things. But if you're not able to afford it, then work on the scholarships. Academy of Scholarships and Transitions will be here to help you and to guide you in the process. I can't see any questions. I would assume that the delivery was absolutely perfect, amazingly good. But just in case, if you find this video some other time after this period, you can drop a message in the comment section and let me know what your questions are. This is Academy of Scholarships and Transitions, and just know that this is what we do. Please go and follow me on YouTube. I will drop a link to my YouTube channel just now. Please head on to that channel and please subscribe if you have not done so. We are on a race